One commonality among my favourite pieces of media, be they games, films, music, books, is a sense of complete and total immersion. Nothing compares to that feeling of just clicking with something and engaging with it 100%, completely losing yourself in the atmosphere, the vibe, the world created by whatever it is you're experiencing. In that moment, it becomes real to you, and the past year, there is nothing that has felt more real to me than Signalis. I adore Signalis, if you couldn't tell. I can count with my fingers the number of things that I've invested myself into to the degree I did Signalis, the number of things that have touched me in the way it has. More than just a game, Signalis has consumed me to the point that I know it will never leave me, and today I'd like to explain why. This is not a review of Signalis, nor an essay about its story or lore, and it's not going to be structured like one. If you have to call this video something, then call it an exploration of immersion, of investment, of what happens when you envelop yourself in something to the point that its fictionality ceases to be a factor, of how Signalis drew me into her woods, me being all too eager to lose myself in them.
An Ulster unit? You should leave this place. This facility is lost. Turn back before it's too late.
I'm looking for this woman. Have you seen her?
I don't know her, but she might be one of the workers. All Gustalt workers were sent to the mine below the facility. If she's still alive, she's probably down there.
Starting things off at the surface level, Signalis is obviously inspired by the early PlayStation N64 era. Think the original Resident Evil and Silent Hill games, though with a more retro-futuristic edge. If you want a full breakdown of the appeal of this style, especially when it comes to horror, then check out the video Pim's Crypt did about it. But relevant to this video, the low poly, angular, somewhat surreal and uncanny style serves as a major draw for me, and was in fact one of the first elements that sucked me in. The lack of detail, far from being an aesthetic flaw, gives your mind the ability to fill in the cracks with whatever it so pleases, especially with the game's great use of lighting. It muddies your perception, causing you to wonder what it is you see in a way you wouldn't in more realistic and clear styles. This is most true of the game's faceless character models, but especially the corrupted replica androids that serve as the principal enemies. A lot of them are so disfigured, their texture's a mess of browns and reds that, when combined with their often mutated anatomy, and the fact that they're often in dark locations, at a glance, it's hard to really tell what they're supposed to be beyond a vague silhouette. And when you ain't got any details, the mind does what it does best and fills in those gaps.
There are more things likely to frighten us than there are to crush us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Some things torment us more than they ought, some torment us before they ought, and some torment us when they ought not to torment us at all. We are in the habit of exaggerating, or imagining, or anticipating sorrow.
In forcing the player to almost construct their own image of Sierpensky 23 and its monsters, I think it becomes a lot easier to place yourself within that setting than if the game were presented in a much higher fidelity. And beyond just making the scares scarier, that also puts us in a much better position to appreciate Signalis' general mood and atmosphere. This is especially felt in the moments between the scares, in the rooms with no enemies, the puzzles the game throws your way. When you're in a save room, sorting your items, deciding what should take up your extremely limited inventory. There are barely any NPCs throughout the game, and none of them travel with you. so a lot of details about the game's story and world can only be found through the many notes and files scattered about. As such, you're really encouraged to take your time and soak in this game, in its quiet, brutalist Soviet aesthetics, thinking things through or even doing as I did and taking notes. And it's in moments like these where you can find an almost beautiful kind of melancholia.
The others, they've changed. We no longer sing in unison. I used to be able to see into their minds. We were as one. Together we guided them all. But now, I can't understand their thoughts anymore. I've never been so alone before. They're still together, and I'm here outside, and they won't let me in. I cannot stand their song anymore. This is the only place I don't have to hear them. This is the only place I'm safe. I can't go on like this. I wish I had become like the others too. At least then, I wouldn't be alone.
When it comes to establishing that melancholia, the soundtrack absolutely does some of the heaviest lifting. Past the pounding industrial noises that score the game's enemy encounters are some really nice ambient pieces. Standouts include Adler, with its frantic, almost slithering strings breaking through these ocean-esque synth chords, conveying a tense yet elegant atmosphere. Orrery, this distant swirl, cold yet strangely comforting, filled with these muffled noises like you're watching a whole world go about its business from afar. Safe Room, ironically one of the more disconcerting pieces, is this deep, dark, churning ambience fronted by this dissonant, trembling, quivering piano, a reminder that danger is often just a door away. And then there's my personal favourite track, Ewige Wiederkunft, a beautiful, faraway piano piece with muffled, swirling electronics. Like you're gently falling into sleep, the world around you melting away, leaving only a wonderfully empty piece. Listening to these magnificently bittersweet songs, combined with the aforementioned strong artistic direction, I can't understate how easy it is to just lose yourself in this game, to let the darkness of your room float away as you step through the screen into one infinitely more black, more tense, more sorrowful, but also more deliberate, comforting, lovely. SIGNALIS is the first survival horror game I've ever really played, but I've heard before and understood the logic of having breathers, safe rooms, between encounters with enemies. Without the contrast, without those moments of calm, it becomes hard to appreciate the moments of tension and terror, which would quickly become tiresome if strung out back to back with no breaks. But it wasn't until playing this game that I realised the reverse is also true. That thanks to those moments of fear, the calm and peace in between can become even more beautiful. SIGNALIS' themes of dreams and cosmic horror, locations changing at random, characters blending and bleeding into each other, events and settings far beyond our understanding, lend the game this ethereal, dazed tone, and the longer I played, the further I fell into this world, the more I accepted it like you would a dream, rolling with the surreal, at times incomprehensible plot, letting it all wash over me.
It is calling to me from below, the song of a god that whispers to the sleeping, a dark sun setting, over black ocean, a red eye in the sky staring, unblinking forever, and deep below the earth await answers to questions yet unasked.
The only thing grounding me, the only thing that made sense, the only thing that mattered, was the emotion behind it all. And if we want to go further, it's finally time to talk story. Spoilers for SIGNALIS, up to and including the ending. You have been warned.
Oh, hello. You don't belong here either, do you? I'm Isa Ito. You should be careful. There is something wrong with this place. I don't know what happened, but it is probably dangerous to go any further. That's okay. I understand. I have something I need to do too. Take care. I hope you find who you're looking for.
In SIGNALIS, you play as Elster, an artificial replica unit as you search an off-world mining facility for your human officer. It quickly becoming clear that something horrifying has happened shortly before your arrival. As anyone who's played the game knows, there's a lot more to the game's story than this, but this video isn't about that story, at least in and of itself. What I will say is that I think SIGNALIS' premise and characters play a big part in setting its atmosphere, in particular, the aforementioned protagonist. I wouldn't call Elster's characterization bland, so I won't. But it is pretty subtle, mostly expressed through her inner commentary on whatever the player interacts with, her actions in the few cutscenes the game does have, and the hints of her backstory you can glean from various sources. Add to the fact that there are never any other characters travelling with you for her to interact with most NPC interactions being very one-sided from the player's perspective. And it becomes pretty easy for said player, at least in my experience, to align themselves with her. Because of not only this, but all the aforementioned work the game does in immersing you, its graphics, its aesthetic, its music, I very quickly found myself not just relating with Elster, but also thinking of me and her almost as if we were one person. Her actions, her motives, her emotions became mine as well. And perhaps because of this, I soon found in SIGNALIS an odd yet comforting kind of focus. Elster's single-minded determination to find Ariane acted as a kind of baseline, a certainty I could fall back on. It didn't matter that I was alone in a derelict facility. It didn't matter that I had horrifying monsters lurking in the shadows waiting to kill me. It didn't matter that reality itself seemed to be collapsing around me. It didn't matter that I had to go to work the next day. It didn't matter that my bills were getting higher. It didn't matter that rent was due. I had a promise to keep, and it would be kept. Nothing else mattered. I guess I found that simplicity comforting. In devoting myself to SIGNALIS, I am able to become Elster in the sense that I too ignore the world around me. The things no longer in the right places, falling apart. My focus solely on achieving this one goal, for better and for worse. It feels like my mind has been contaminated, defiled by another person's memory. I'm no longer fully myself anymore, but I've not fully become someone else either. With that in mind, the few other characters take an interesting role in that there's almost this shared sense of powerlessness. Playing through the game, I couldn't shake the impression that no one has any real control here. No one really knows what's going on. There's no mastermind, no malicious intent, no grand villainy, no responsibility for anything. We're all just a bunch of people, trapped against our will in a situation we cannot control, doing our best to do what we think is best, if we even can think. This is best exemplified by Adler, introduced as one of the few characters with any brain cells left and in clear opposition to Elster and Isa. He seems to be the closest thing the game has to an active antagonist. But although he's acting with more awareness of the larger picture than anyone else, he is still no more than either of his adversaries, an innocent person unwillingly drawn into something he can't hope to understand, left with nothing to fall back on but the simple determination to protect what's important to him. From the Storch holed up in the rationing office, to the miner bleeding out in the mines, from the Colbury hiding in the library, to Falk, the final boss, everyone is the same. Something terrible has happened. No one understands what, and there's nothing to be done. There's almost a comfort in that, as if we're united in helplessness. Or we would be, were we not Elster.
It's like everything was taken apart and put back together by someone who doesn't understand how it works. I have become whole again. I wear no mask.
And I hate everything. Perhaps this is hell.
I made a promise.
I'll do anything.
There's a slight but undeniable shift in tone that happens after the game's false ending, for me at least. Though the nature of what's happened still isn't any clearer, what is the nature of Elster's goal. Her promise, shown to us through a flashback of Elster's time with Ariane on the Penrose. It mirrors the start of the game, showing us their life together, the joy, the love they had shared, and had taken from them. As Elster ransacks her own corpse for body parts, the music building in intensity, her mission finally clear, I can't help but feel a rage building up inside me. An indignation that makes me want to tear the world apart until I can get back what was taken. And although it's Elster I can't help but identify with, it's Adler's quoting of the King in Yellow that sums things up the best. I wear no mask, and I hate everything. And it's this hatred, this furious grief over what had been taken from Elster that drove me during this final chapter. Even as I became more aware of the true nature of the corruption, even as it was made apparent that Elster's actions, her repeated runs through the same timeline might only be making things worse. It didn't matter. Nothing else mattered. Not after seeing what I'd lost. I have to see her again. I made a promise. I'll do anything. I suppose in retrospect then, Signalis was always doomed to end in tragedy. No matter the ending you get, there's nothing good waiting for you. In the Leave ending, a timid and fearful Elster, too afraid to see Ariane, crawls out of the Penrose, dying in the wastelands of a lifeless planet. In the Promise ending, Elster, ruthless, bloodthirsty and exhausted, fights her way to a lover, who asks her to fulfill their promise and kill her. In the Memory ending, Elster faces Ariane, who simply has no recollection of her. There is the abstract artifact ending, where Elster, through an esoteric ritual, is able to reunite with Ariane in some form. I suppose the tone of this ending is up to your interpretation. I personally see the artifact ending as the best ending, but still extremely bittersweet. Elster and Ariane finally escaping the cycle and finding peace in a true final death, though not before sharing one last dance together. As I sat, watching the credits roll on the artifact ending, the final ending I got, a realization struck me. This was my last true run of Signalis, the final run where I had something new waiting at the end for me. I had beaten the game. And sure, I could replay it as many times as I wanted, maybe have a go at trying to piece together the obtuse lore and narrative, speed run, tank controls. But it wouldn't be the same. I realized that this was the beginning of the end for my journey with Signalis. That any subsequent runs would be me chasing after a high I would never again reach, a memory I could never relive. It was done. It was over. And so, sitting there, realizing this, I mourned Signalis. In that moment, I felt more like Elster than I ever had. This is what she must have felt like, running through the same events over and over and over again, desperate to recapture something beautiful. But the more she tried, the more things distorted, warped, drifting further from that gorgeous image. Even so, more than anything, it's still the memory ending. The first one I got, the one that dooms everyone to go through all this pain once more. That's the ending that resonates with me the most. I know what we had is gone now. I'll never have you like I once did. And that's okay. Just give me a few more moments. Just let me bask in you. One last time, please. Just let me stay by your side a little longer.
I've come back for you. It's me, Elster.
Why did you return? There's nothing for you here. She doesn't even want us anymore.
Elster. I'm sorry, but I don't remember.
She'll never dance with us again, no matter what we do. You selfish monster. You'll destroy everything.
It doesn't matter. It's okay. Just let me stay by your side a little longer.
This video is sponsored by me. I don't know if that's how it works, but we'll get to that. Firstly, I want to thank my patrons, especially Michael Coolwood, my tier 3 patron. Your support humbles me, I cannot thank you enough. If you also want to support me while getting a few things in return, like seeing this video and its soundtrack a week ago, then the link is in the description and the end cards. And speaking of said soundtrack, Eternal Recurrence, which features all the original music featured in this video, is out now on Bandcamp, YouTube, and every other streaming service. Links will again be in the end cards as well as the description. I also want to thank Inland the Empire and IVE for contributing to the soundtrack, as well as everyone in the cast who read for this video. All their links will be in the description. And finally, after almost a year of working on it, my first proper original album is done. The Universe is a God-Shaped Hole will be releasing on the 28th of June 2024. A sonic exploration of noise, ambient, hip-hop and electronic, as well as a thematic exploration of nihilism, existentialism and cosmic horror. It's a project that I feel is almost a tone setter for what I want to do, the kinds of sounds I enjoy playing with and the kinds of topics I enjoy exploring. I've dropped 2 singles from this project before, and to celebrate it finally coming out, there will be a third, final single, Reflection, coming out on the 26th of May, this Sunday. You can pre-save it with the link in the description, or assuming it's already out by the time you're watching this, then just follow the link to your streaming service of choice and enjoy. Again, the full album is coming out on the 28th of June, hope to see you there. If you're still watching this, then thank you so much, I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll be seeing you later, but until then, bye bye. There's no one to hold you.